Matt, as you mentioned, you're doing a lot of work with educational technology. For the audience that doesn't understand educational technology, EdTech is the acronym, and also artificial intelligence or AI. Matt, for someone who doesn't understand how EdTech and AI connect, how would you break it down for them?
Some of the issues that we're dealing with today with artificial intelligence are the same kind of issues that we've been dealing with classroom technology, instructional technology, educational technology. It's like the same song all over again. We're just changing some of the lyrics around a little bit because we got all this artificial intelligence that we're trying to wrap our brains around, and AI can do some pretty incredible stuff. You use some of the AI assistants like ChatGPT, and it can explain things for you, and it can help you like tease out your ideas, and can come up with writing for you. You've got image generators and even now video generators that can make images and videos for you. And there's even been stuff in the background that sometimes we don't even realize is happening. Your GPS map app suggests routes for you, and artificial intelligence is driving some of that. And even down to little stuff like spell check. We keep talking about, oh, AI is here, AI just got here. No, AI's been here since the late 1990s. It was in the spell check in your documents and you didn't even really realize it.
For the audience, I took artificial intelligence in my computer science program back in 1999, just so everyone knows. Artificial intelligence is to program machines to think like humans.
Yes.
Okay. But generative AI, what everyone's talking about now with ChatGPT and so many different apps, is to use artificial intelligence to recreate or improve something that's already been done, like an image, some ideas that are already on the internet, very quickly gather them and organize them in a way that a human would, but rapidly.
Yeah.
Same thing goes for video and images, as we discussed. All right, Matt, go ahead. I just want the audience to know what we're talking about here.
I appreciate that. Having some of these abilities available to us on our phones and on our devices and everything, especially having them available to students. Teachers are just trying to wrap their brains around it, right? What's its place in education? How far should it go? Is it going to stand in the way of students thinking and students developing skills? Or on the other side of it, what could it open up and empower students to do that they weren't able to do before? And so there's that whole continuum. I talk to teachers that are worried about cheating, and they're like, this is the way that we used to do writing, and we've always done essays, and we've always done this stuff. And, you know, if they use too much AI, then it's not going to work that way. And trying to help them work through that, because that's a fair thing, right? Like, we're trying to help students to think and to develop their reasoning and their critical thinking skills and stuff. But then on the other side of it, it's like asking about the possibilities. What can we do with this that we couldn't do before? We can iterate a bunch of ideas that we didn't before. We can provide scaffolds to students who struggle with writing. We can do all sorts of accessibility and language translation stuff on the fly that we didn't before. That's a world that we're living in right now. Like, everything is there's a lot of things that are being overturned, and, you know, lots of upheaval and everything, and people are just trying to grasp and trying to figure out where all of this should go and what it should be in the classroom, I think.
Also, folks, if you were using Grammarly, if you were using Amazon before 2023, you were already using AI. These tools were AI empowered. Matt, what's the primary message of your coaching work with teachers on using artificial intelligence?
It's multifaceted. I usually like to get into it at first to try to talk to teachers about the efficiency side of things. We've been talking for years about how teachers don't have enough time to do all the things that they're asked to do. Teachers' plates are all full, and we've got way too much stuff, and we just can't get it all done. And it's serious because it has impacts on our mental health. It impacts how we feel about our jobs. It ends up driving teachers. There are really great teachers out there that have wanted to continue to do teaching work that just can't keep up with the stress and the workload and everything, and they decide to do something else. And I think that's the easy first step that I do whenever I coach teachers on AI is just to say, hey, listen, this can help us generate some lesson ideas. This can help you reduce some of the time that you take to create teaching materials. It can give you a little infusion of creativity. It can help you with your emails and like the tone of your emails to make sure that you don't miss the tone of your emails, because some of us do that sometimes. I think that's the first place that I like to go. But then the second step I like to take is to talk about how it can impact instruction too, right? Because we can use some of those AI assistants even if we use them like on a projector screen or on an interactive display or something, we throw them up there and we can use it as a second voice in class. We can have it take the place of someone who works a specific kind of job or something and ask them theoretical questions. We can have it create examples. But what I think the most important thing to do is whenever we do that with students is to always have a critical eye on it, because George, as well as I do, that AI isn't perfect. Really, all you got to do is just watch the news, right? And you watch some of those like really weird AI images that they generate and stuff, and we can see that AI makes mistakes. And so having
It's
that
got like 6 fingers,
eye,
right. I have a secret. It's a secret in the sense not many people know this.
Yeah.
I want to become a scientist. I will be defending my perspectives by the end of this month. I'll be collecting data in the fall, and I'll be graduating as a doctoral student in May. The amount of things that someone has to understand how to design research, how to carry it out is very pragmatic, and there's steps. And then you have to write these steps within chapters, all of this. For someone that understands that, or even just writing a book, if you have a table of contents and you're mapping out what all your chapters look like, and you most likely have a framework or a model or a system, these are now becoming chapters, or pieces of those are now becoming chapters, then you understand how things work.
Yeah.
And if you don't understand that and you try to use AI, you are going to make yourself look like a cheater.
Yeah.
Any teacher knows if a student doesn't understand what the components of an essay are, the opening paragraph, the conclusion, the thesis statement, all these different things. If they don't know that, whatever's AI generated is not going to follow that format unless you tell it to. You have to know what you're doing if you're using artificial intelligence. And I think what you said is the most important thing, not to do your work for you, but to help you think about things and edit things in a way that you couldn't do on your own, or you would have to rely on a bunch of other people that may not be available to you.
Yeah. And there's a balance. And you're highlighting the fact that there's a balance on this, right? There's like the idea of using too much AI and not using your own human intellect enough. But then there's also on the other side of it, there's throwing out a lot of the opportunity that AI can use to help you save time and to gather ideas and stuff. And if we don't hit that balance really nicely, if we don't get in the middle of that balance, we miss out on some of the great opportunities of both of them. We can really become like our best selves, I think, whenever we hit that balance just right. And honestly, that's a balance. That balance is a skill that students are going to have to deal with for their entire lives. From K-12 up into higher education and into the work world, it's like, how much is too much? How much is okay? How much is not enough? And whenever they can hit that balance, that's huge. And so that, I think that's our job, is to help them to see where that balance is and when it's appropriate, when it's effective, when we should lean on our own human intellect. That's something all of us as humans are going to have to deal with for the rest of our lives.
Matt, you mentioned using artificial intelligence to help teachers save time. I'm all for that as well. However, I recently saw Ken Shelton on a podcast. I believe it was a podcast, or I'm not sure if it was at ISTE, but he said, be very careful of using AI to save time, but then allowing something else to now take up that time that you just saved. And I thought that was really brilliant. And here's a quick plug. Ken and Dee Lanier have written The Promises and Perils of AI in Education. If you're interested in AI, which I think you should be, I think you need to pick up this book.
Yeah. Leave it to Ken to say something insightful. He probably thinks it's like a throwaway moment and it's like something that totally blows us away. Yeah.
I had to think about it and I'm like, yeah, I'm getting so much more accomplished, but I'm still working 14-hour days.
Yeah.
I've had to reach a point where I'm cutting stuff off and I'm like, you know what? As I accomplish X amount of things, I need to leave it alone until the next day. And I need to make my weekends a lot more sacred than they've been.
Yeah. You think about it, people have been doing this throughout all of eternity. What happened after the Industrial Revolution? We start to get all of these machines and machine powered things and everything that are able to save us time. And then what do? We just pick up more stuff. And then what happens when the internet comes around and we're able to look things up faster and get things done faster that way? What do? We pick up more stuff. And so now here's artificial intelligence that can help us to do some things better. And if it eliminates some of that time burden and we have a little bit of extra free time, what are we going to do with it? That's another key question that we're going to have to ask ourselves, or otherwise what's going to happen? We're going to all end up burned out and worn out the same way that we are right now.
Perfectly stated.